Were you the only child at this party?
No, not at all. There's so many kids at this party.
Were there also so many celebrities?
Yep. That whole they leave at a certain time, that's not true. Everybody has to take DNA test, saliva test, blood tests, give up your phone, give up information, any trackers or locations, no weapons, no cameras.
So I'm sorry, but anybody that's running in those circles, whether they claim to have left early or not, is a bunch of bullshit. Because if you left early, but you knew kids were there, and you did know, you don't run in those circles and not know that. If someone is willing to rape a child, they have no integrity at all. So that means they're also liars. That means they probably also murder people. That means they do a lot of shit. Because the lowest bar that you can set for yourself is to not hurt kids. And if you can't hold that bar, you can't hold the bar for anything else. So saying I left early from a party where children are being brutalized and raped and sodomized and used in bestiality and satanic rituals is not a plausible explanation or excuse or a pass. And this is something you're probably going to want to bookmark, but the way these things link together will blow your mind, and there's no coincidences. These things tie together like a ball of spaghetti. Like, I don't even know how to explain that, but everything else. And when you start pulling at one thing, you're going to get a bunch of other things that all link together. Who they deal with, who they associate with, where they traffic, how they traffic, all of this links together. You have traffickers putting out movies. Sound of Freedom.
What Sound of Freedom?
They're putting out movies about
I don't hear any sound.
While they're trafficking, while they're in bed with traffickers funding the movie. Y'all went to see that and were like, yay, somebody's doing something. No, nobody did anything, but you gave your money to aid trafficking. You guys have got to be careful what you do. Be careful what you do with your money. Be careful who you vote for. Be careful who you idolize, because you don't know how deep these things go.
There's no election. There's no damn election. So don't, and this is not a political thing, but there's no election. Because everybody's guilty. So everybody is guilty. Who do you call for all these children?
Start asking the right questions. Who is trafficking these children? Where are they getting these kids from? When Diddy's house was being raided, the neighbor drove by and said, yeah, they bust kids in at 3 a.m. How are they busting kids in? Where would you go to get a busload of kids? We could do this all day long. We could list celebrities all day long. But until you guys are soul sick and disgusted and get a righteous anger, it's kind of pointless to keep just naming names. We've been naming names for years.
I'll give you some names. You wouldn't even know them though, because CPS covered them up. Those names are what's important. This is a lot.
You're going to be seeing more cannibalism come out into the light, because that's part of satanic ritual abuse. That's part of what these people do. I've said for years, they're not like us. They don't think like us. They don't act like us. They don't have integrity. They're not like us. They don't have any value for life unless it's their own. And once you wrap your head around that satanic ritual abuse that's going on, then we can get right into the MK Ultra. And to me, that's the worst of the worst.
I don't know what happened. My brain just shut down. I just can't. I'll come back on here when I can. I'll be back tomorrow. Give me till tomorrow. Sharon told her to hold on half the affidavit. Just wait a second, and he'll drop one. But that doesn't matter. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? It doesn't matter until it matters. People can drop evidence all day. You got shit coming out left and right. It doesn't matter until it matters to somebody that is personal.
Well, it matters. What are you going to do? What changes are you going to make in your life? Are you going to keep idolizing these people? Are you going to keep supporting them with your money? Are you going to go watch their trafficking movie even though the traffickers are funding the movie and it was about a fictional trafficking situation, when you could have just talked to any survivor and they would have given you more information? Like, everybody needs a come to Jesus meeting. Everybody needs a reality check with their life. Things are not what they seem. You're either going to keep going down that road and keep your head in the sand, or you're going to get shaken to your very core and find that righteous indignation deep inside and say, this is enough. These children are on our watch. There are children still being harmed and hurt and brutalized and have animals turned on them sexually and are having their face rubbed in their own vomit if they get sick. They're being beat if they start their period. You don't understand what they're doing. But that's on our watch. That's on my watch, and that's on your watch. So it's up to us. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to continue to allow it? Or are we going to start holding people accountable? Are we going to hold people's feet to the fire and say, this is enough, that's not going to happen anymore?
Everybody, when I was younger, they let it happen. When I went into foster care, nobody did anything. Nobody called to check. I was missing for a year from CPS's custody. I ran away and made a choice myself when I was auctioned to Russia. I was like, that's enough. They're going to kill me. I tried to tell my social worker. It's still in paperwork. I called the supervisor. We called the ombudsman. They're going to kill me. Can y'all help me? You keep talking, we'll ship you to Arizona and nobody will ever find you. I said, all right. Make a choice myself. I went missing for a year. No one came to look for me. You could tell the people who gave a damn because those are the people that are in records that called.
As a previous social worker, I can tell you the easiest way to get kids put into trafficking is they'll just take the kids, they will groom the kids, and then when the kids go missing, CPS says the foster parent's responsibility, if your foster child goes missing, is you pick up the phone, you call 911 and say, I have a foster kid, they ran away, and that absolves you of any responsibility. So anything that happens to the kid from that point on is no longer your responsibility. It absolves CPS of the responsibility, and nobody bothers to look for the kid. They will not allow you to hunt for that kid.
Mm-mm. They took me out of the missing kids network real quick.
So a lot of missing kids are labeled runaways, and nobody ever knows what happens to them. CPS is the big pharma for children.
Nobody holds them accountable at all. They can't.
There's no oversight for CPS except the ombudsman, which is very, very, very loose and that's not an oversight. And you guys think, I'm a good parent, so CPS will never come to my door. That's not true. If your kid gets on somebody's radar, if your kid gets on a trafficker's radar, they can file a complaint, they can make a phone call, they can send a corrupt CPS and a corrupt police officer to your house, and they'll take your kid, and that's it. It does not matter if you're a good parent or not. It has nothing to do with it. You non-monetized investigators should start digging into CPS.